This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the UK's #1 coral selling website, coral-auctions.co.uk and reefdork.etsy.com for all your 3D printed aquarium accessory needs. Tube. Hello everybody, welcome to the Pest Reef Dork show. Today we are going to be talking about something that took me a little bit of time. I think I've told you this, right? It took me a little bit of time to work out what you're actually talking about.
Yeah, that's normal, isn't it?
Basically, yeah. But I was trying to put a thumbnail together for this the other day, or whenever I uploaded it last week, and I was texting you. I was trying to work out what it was, and I couldn't work it out. So the thumbnail that I ended up with, that I changed last minute because I asked you, the thumbnail I ended up with Ryan wants to talk about something. I don't understand what it is, so this is the thumbnail. That was literally the thumbnail. So
is that what it is? I haven't seen the thumbnail.
I've changed it so because I worked
okay.
out. I worked out, so it's all good. But yeah, anyway, we'll come on to that. It's very. Oh, and actually, there's scandal as well in the hobby.
Interesting. Yeah. See, I don't know this. This is where I get my gossip from.
This is going to be in the news later. So that's retention bait. There's like the Watergate scandal, yes. And after that, everything is called Gate.
Yeah.
This is called Reefgate.
Interesting.
And I've seen it. I've seen Reefgate, and I'll tell you all about it later.
Is this something to do with a company?
I can't tell you until later, Ryan.
You can't tell me till the end. Are you going to make me wait till the end?
It's exactly what I'm going to do. And
I like how there's audience retention and host retention.
Exactly. Got to keep you interested. Yeah. But we will come onto that later. Yes, but there we go. Anyway, how are you?
I'm good. Well, I'm good. I have a little bit of sad news because I might as well start with the bad news first. Obviously, for the last two videos I put out, the male Japanese swallowtail wasn't in great condition because it got beaten up by the female Japanese swallowtail. Unfortunately, he died a couple of days. I think it was either a day or 2 days after the live stream last week. So it was either Monday or Tuesday this week. I will be honest with you, I had a sense of relief as well because at some point you go, am I doing this for the fish or am I doing this for myself? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And it got to the point where I was like, I'm not sure this is the right thing. But then the next day he died. So, but I did everything to try and keep him alive. Interestingly, the female may now be changing into a male.
Oh, interesting.
It's not definite, but it's almost like she won the battle, and so that she then became. She chased off a big male. In her mind, she's thinking, I chased off a big male.
What I was thinking is that the process was already happening, and that's why she was being aggressive.
It's possible, but it's far from certain that is actually what's happening. I've just noticed that the yellow band on top of her is far more prominent than I've ever noticed before. Now apparently, the tiger stripes on them or like zebra stripes on them come in first usually, but who really knows? That's just like anecdotal. Like someone saw. There's not enough of these fish around for people to go. This is exactly what happens. But yeah, unfortunately, it's one of those things. I like to try and be honest with people, just because it happens to them, it happens to me. It's part of the hobby, and unfortunately, there's no point in hiding it, is there? So, but I didn't. It's interesting because I did 3 weeks in a row of putting videos out, and then this week I don't know if I didn't fancy it. I didn't want it. It's because you have to do that news, and then I just like, well, I'm not in the mood to film a video about something negative.
Yeah.
So then you just don't want to do it. So then in the end, I didn't. But I will. Look, I feel like after I've spoke about it now, is you sort of like get it out the way, don't you? And then you can just mention it briefly in the next one.
This is true. It's funny that you mentioned. Yeah, so in terms of you don't want to talk about it, but you said something like you've got to, haven't you? You've got to talk about that, and that's true. So I got a comment on one of my videos this week. I got 2 comments that were just like, it's like, oh god, this is like the 0.1%. Almost everybody.
I also had a couple of comments from someone this week. I wonder if it's the same person.
There was okay, I'll tell you. There was another one on Instagram as well that I was like, oh come on. But anyway, so the 2 on YouTube, one of them wasn't aimed at me. I found, so in the YouTube on the YouTube Studio on your desktop on your computer, you go into the comment section and you say there's sometimes YouTube hides comments, and sometimes that's just something innocuous like someone's put a link and YouTube doesn't accept links, but other times it's because someone uses bad words or says something really and it says it hides it, and then when you click on it, it says see hidden comments, so it's another layer of hidden. When you say show me, it says are you sure, because this is bad. And every time I get to, it's rare that happens, but every now and then I'll get a comment where YouTube's like, I know you think you're up for this, but this is really bad. Like, oh god. And I clicked on it, and it was this it was a video that I did from Aqua last year about the ATI Straton, and it was just me talking to the bloke saying, hey, it was Yorkshire Reefer Stefan, this is what the Straton looks like, just here's a quick par test. This is some specs, basically. Those videos are just a sales pitch, because you're talking to sales people for the most part, or at least people who are there to promote it. So there's just a sales pitch. You're not going to get like a detailed assessment. And the first comment was something like, it was saying, criticizing it for not being a full review or something, basically. Okay, fine, whatever. And then I went back, and this was, bearing in mind, this was 6 months ago. There were 13 replies to that one comment. Turned out people have been going back and forwards, and it boiled down to was one person liked the light, the other person didn't like it, and that caused an argument. It's like, guys, you know what you're arguing about here, don't you? But
I usually pin the negative comments. I usually pin them to the top, because other people then usually argue for me.
I can't be bothered with that. But it wasn't. But the thing is, no one was having a go at me. They were having a go at each other, having a fight amongst themselves. And the comment that YouTube had blocked and said, "Are you sure?" This one guy he was the guy who was winding people up. It was like, he'd said something like, it was just an insult about he used the word slut. And
was he referring to you, Alex?
No, it was called the other person who was commenting. He was talking about that person's mum, and it was like,
oh my god,
this is because you don't agree on whether this is a good light or not. It's like, really? So
someone said something, I can't remember. I don't want to go into it, but I'm gonna see. I'm gonna now see if I can get into your band section. I'm not sure how that came across. I'm gonna see if I can get into that comment section that YouTube thinks is too risky. So I need to see what I can write to put in there.
Yeah, well, you've got to go some. But the other comment actually that started me thinking that what you mentioned a minute ago was you've got to talk about the bad stuff, basically, which you do, of course, and you have to. And there was one of the comments on my it's my setup, the TMC first wave setup video. So last week I had an ammonia spike. To be honest, it was a tiny ammonia spike. It was still in this. It was I think it's safe level, then alert, and then alarms. And if it's in safe and alert, that's probably okay. But to be honest, as soon as it goes out of the safe zone, you want to do something about it. And it was like it was definitely not safe anymore. It was like towards alert, but it was minor. It was really small. But I just thought, you know what, I'm going to do an 80% water change anyway. So I did a massive, probably 90% massive water change, put a load more filter media in, fixed it straight away. And the ammonia spike, I noticed it the same day I did the water change, or the next day or whatever. So it was tiny. It was just completely insignificant. And I got a comment saying, just like criticizing me deeply, and how stupid are you for getting an ammonia spike and this sort of stuff. And you're like, look, I'm showing you this because this happens. It doesn't matter how long you've been in the hobby. You can have times when you plan something, it doesn't work out the way you think. And if that happens to you, and bearing in mind this is a beginner tank, so most people watching that will be beginners, or most people following it closely will be beginners. They need to know. I need to be able to say, look, sometimes this happens. It doesn't always go according to plan. And if it does, this is what you do, and then it'll fix it. So why, like, that's a positive thing.
It's
Like,
just people. How
I
often
know, yeah.
I seem to be saying that more and more every day now, but it is just like when you expose yourself to not literally, but to
Yeah.
this many people, yeah. But
But the
look,
thing that it really is the 0.001%. In reefing, just everyone is so friendly and so nice. It's just every now and then you're like, oh.
I very rarely comment. I can't remember what it was on, but someone had written something not very nice on someone else's video, or it was a review or something, and you could reply to this review, and I wrote, just try to imagine how angry that man was while he was typing that review, and then feel sorry for him.
Yeah.
And then loads and loads of people clicked my I liked what I'd written because it's true.
I've just realised, by the way.
Pardon?
Where's your microphone?
Here.
There. That's better.
Oh, because you couldn't see the little shark.
I can normally see the little shark, yeah.
Yeah, it's gone under the laptop.
Yeah, it's funny.
But yeah, so it's just people. But anyway, so we vastly diverted then.
I know. I digress.
So unfortunately, obviously didn't survive. The female may turn into a male. It'd be really interesting if she does, because I do wonder if it's almost like because she won the fight, that was the trigger that turned her. But we'll see. If not, because they can turn from a female into a male and back from a male into a female again. So it's entirely possible that she might go back the other way.
Clownfish don't. It's just a one and done base, isn't it? But
no,
it
happens quite frequently. See, it's not really like well documented in Genicanthus angelfish, but like in terms of if you search it, it's not like everyone's going, yeah, this happened. But I know for a fact that the normal swallow-tailed angelfish that you see, and the males are just like zebra stripes.
Yeah.
I know that 100% those males quite often turn back into females.
Okay.
And usually they're huge females.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it happened in Jamie's tank as well. So I know that they definitely can go both ways.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the angelfish update for you.
Sorry, mate.
Last week I told you that I had someone come on Monday to talk about solar panels. This is a good one. So the sales rep came around, nice enough, and I said, look, I am pretty sure you're not going to be able to do anything for me, even though they had told me that I was the ideal person for them. They're like, oh, you have such a high bill. You're definitely the ideal person. So I would like people in the chat, just quickly, you've got like 30 seconds to take a guess how much it would be to put solar panels on my house and to have 24 hours backup for the farm, but the solar panels are only going to generate 50% of the electricity I use each day.
So this was the quote was for solar panels and then batteries as well, and you use a lot of electricity, so it was enough batteries to use. How many kilowatts do you use per day? Do you know?
I think it was just under 80 kilowatts a day.
So 80 kilowatts of battery, roughly.
Yeah, it was like 77 or something like that.
So total quote for that. And you can, if you're US, I've seen US dollars. If you say $10,000 I'll assume that's £10,000 because it'll probably roughly translate. So.
See, all of the quotes that are coming in at the moment: 35k, 15k, 25k, 20k, 40k, like 30, 15, 30. You see, it's interesting because you've all got a rough idea. Alex is trying to give you a clue because no one's got it yet.
It's close, not a million miles off, but
some of them are. Some of them are. Let's put it this way: diverse reefer is the closest with 40k. So so I'll put you out of your misery. It was so to have 24 hours of battery backup, it was 50k, £50,000. And when he did the quote, he looked at his because he types it all into like a calculator. And when he typed it in, he just went, "This is the biggest quote I've ever seen for a domestic property." So it was £50,000, and it was the batteries. Dishwasher Ash said it's the batteries that do it. So and then I said to him, okay, well, take off the battery. So let's just have it so that it generates 50% of the electricity. Because I'm all like, I will use every single drop of electricity that it can. There'll be no storage, if you see what I mean, anyway. So it's irrelevant. And it was, I think it was just under 14,000 just for the solar panels. Yeah. So more reasonable, but still a lot. And because originally they told me that I'd pay for them in like 2 years. It would still take, I think, 5 or 6 years to generate back that £14,000. They said. So I'm not sure it's a. I'm not
That's
sure
all
it's
right, to be fair. That's not terrible.
no, I agree with you. It's not as bad as 50 grand. But
No, the batteries would be
let's say let's say there's a possibility that you might be moving within the next 2 years. Are you going to put 14,000 pounds of
no
solar panels on?
The only thing is, how long have you been talking about moving?
No, I know, but
so you're going to be sat here in 5 years' time going, any minute now, I'm going to move.
Yeah.
I can't do it, but yeah, it's to be fair, actually, I also wonder if you would use all the electricity if you had what was it, 10 kilowatts of solar panels? Do you remember? I think that's what you told me. If it was, if let's say there are times in the summer when it would be generating 10 kilowatts, your house won't be using 10 kilowatts all the time. So actually, you might find that you end up selling some of that back to the grid, which is just marginally less, well, slightly less efficient.
I'd be surprised, but look, as I said, I know what you're saying, but interestingly, so the guy actually, I hope I won't get him in trouble, but the guy was he knew that he wasn't going to make a sale then, and
well, you told him before he even sat down, didn't you? Yeah.
I told him at the very beginning. I said, look, I'll be honest with you, like, I don't want to waste your time, but some guy that you work for came to my door.
Yeah, so, I didn't phone you, mate.
No, I didn't. So yeah, just and I said, what would you do in my situation? He went, do you know what I would do? I'd go out. You can buy the solar panels well cheap, yeah. And if I were you, I'd fit them yourself, or get someone you know to fit them. There might be some connection at the end that needs to be done, or something like that. But you can do it. But the majority of the cost is the labor.
Yeah, exactly.
So because the solar panels aren't overly expensive.
No, they're dirt cheap. Yeah.
So as I said, it was nice. He enjoyed having a tour of the coral farm, and I feel like I gave him an existential crisis when he sort of went, what am I doing with my life selling solar panels? Because he just thought, he was like, this is unbelievable, like that you get to do this as your job. And I'm selling solar panels.
I'll tell you what, mate, if you think it's unbelievable, come around and clean the glass every day.
That is true.
Yeah.
To be fair, like the other reason I didn't do the video this week, I am like going like full steam ahead at the moment with regards to like corals, fragging, I'm putting in more. So the entire of yesterday was taking pictures, putting the black backgrounds on, uploading on the website, uploading on the auction site, literally the entirety of Saturday. Don't get me wrong, I didn't do work any other day of the week. No, I'm just shaking. And then obviously on Friday I went to a different wholesaler. So I'm like, usually I would go to the wholesaler once every couple of weeks. Sometimes I'd leave it even for 3 weeks. Whereas this time I'm like, I wonder how much difference it would make if I sold corals for slightly less, but went every single week. So like, do you make significantly more money doing that, or does it work out roughly the same? I'm not sure. So I'm just doing a test at the moment where I'm trying to go every week, and I'll be going again on Friday. So 4 weeks in a row. But it's about getting the corals in and out, as well as doing so I've got my own section, but I also have like the whole, like Trachyphilias and stuff like that. So
there was
I can't grow Trachyphilias.
No, there was another reefing project you were working on a while ago that you were waiting for a design for something that then came through. I'm not going to give it away. You remember that?
You're talking about the bottles?
Yeah.
Oh, as in, yeah, no, I know. And I've got, you can tell people, I don't care. But it's not happening at the moment, but it's.
So, well, this is where I'm going, because I remember before you went away to Australia in December.
Yeah,
you were like, you were done in. You hadn't had a holiday for 35 years, and you were just tired. You'd been full chat basically for a long time. Yeah. You needed a break, and you were like, I'll come back refreshed and I'll crack on with everything.
Yeah.
So it's now February.
Look, I am cracking on with other stuff, so I'm just not cracking on with that. I don't know if that is. I know you think that it might work. I just don't know if I'm like. I don't know if. As I said, at the moment I've got a few different projects I'm working on. That's like the one at the back.
Yeah.
is the honest answer. And I don't even know why it's at the back because, as I said to you, it's like pure. We're talking about something that people don't know what we're talking about.
Is it ready to go, more or less?
What the no, not even
No.
like.
Okay.
It's very simple. I was like, I might as well just tell people.
Cool.
Like, I was thinking about just you know how I mix all my own like solutions, calcium, alkalinity, and magnesium. So a lot of my customers were saying to me, "Why don't you like sell it to us? Mix it up and sell it to us." And then I just thought, well, I could make my own brand for it. So then I made my own brand for it with like. And I got a website for it, but I found bottles and everything, and it all came down to eventually like that I needed to get the stickers and the design, and I just never sort of went the next step, basically. So that's what Alex and I are talking about. It may happen one day. It's just not a priority for me at the moment. So, but you never know. Maybe. Red Sea, I'm coming for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This is bulk resupply. This is the next.
No, I know. I just think you can make a lot of the products. You can make them significantly cheaper than what they're being sold for. So, which is
so. I think there's definitely a market for a basic option because some people want the really fancy stuff.
Yeah.
That's got various fancy things, but some people are like, you know what? I just want something that will grow my corals. That's it.
Yeah, yeah. And let's put it this way: it's almost like if it works for me. And I grow all of these corals and I pay my mortgage based on how much coral I grow.
Yeah.
It's good enough for someone who's just trying to grow coral in their tank. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, come on, completely, yeah.
So
there was actually on the point of DIY stuff. So I DIY because I run Calquasser, that means if my alkalinity is really low, but my calcium is really high and my magnesium is low, I can't do anything about it because you can't split Calquasser. You can't tell Calquasser just to dose calcium or whatever. And it doesn't dose magnesium. So I have to make up my own calcium and magnesium. And what I normally do is I buy 2 kilogram bags. If you buy a 2 kilogram bag, you put it into a 5-litre bottle. You've seen this.
I saw this on your thing.
Yeah, you put it into a 5-litre bottle and then it is mixed up. So it's perfect. And what I discovered was if you buy, it's on eBay, and if you buy 4 kilograms, they just send you two 2 kilogram bags.
Yeah,
brilliant. So you just save a bit of money.
That's because there is no 4 kilogram bags.
Well, there you go. I know that now. But I was like, well, do you know what? Let's do an experiment. Because the next option was 10 kilograms. I was like, that's a lot cheaper. I'm saving a lot of money. So in that case, I'll buy 10 kilograms and I'll get 5 2-kilogram bags and I could just do them one at a time.
Yeah.
This is what I received. So on the left is the 2-kilogram bag. On the right is a 10 kilogram bag.
Do you know what's funny? I have 2, but when I saw that, I laughed. I have 2 of those 10 kilogram bags, which I will never use because you don't go through that much magnesium.
No.
It's sitting in the cupboard behind me, like behind this wall.
Yeah. That's a couple of years worth of magnesium. And the annoying thing is, so now I've got to if I was going to do still 5 liters at a time, which makes sense, I now have that's introducing another step of I've got to weigh out 2 kilograms. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of effort. But
no, I'm with you.
Like, oh God, I can't be bothered.
Yeah.
So what I might do is just mix up 25 liters.
The other issue that you'll have is it absorbs water, like moisture from the air really quickly, and it solidifies.
Oh God!
So if you open that bag, that'll be it.
So I've got to mix it. I've got to make 25.
That unless you seal it properly, yes.
I won't seal it properly. Well, so there you go. The plan works anyway. But it's
rolling it over and putting a bit of tape on it is not good enough.
No, that's so. And now now I'm going to have then a 20. I've got a spare 25-liter barrel, to be fair, but I'm now going to have 25 liters of magnesium, which
you'll never get through.
But
as I say, I think my magnesium container is 40 liters, and I think I've filled it up like once in 5 years.
Oh, I get through. So I don't. My dosing. Oh no, I get through a reasonable amount. To be fair,
I'm surprised because my magnesium consumption is hardly anything.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't know why. I don't know if I've got something in the tank or algae or whatever. I don't know. But anyway, to be fair, the only thing I'll say with that, although I've now got 10 kilograms that I'm never going to get through, let me have a look and see how much that cost. Magnesium. Here we go. 10 kilograms. That's 25 liters of magnesium.
Yeah.
Normally, half a liter is about 20 or 30 quid. You know, like if you've got a picture of a fish on a bottle, 20 or 30 quid for half a liter.
Yeah.
That's 20 times that, and it costs 20 quid.
Yeah. That's look, you're preaching to the converted. I was the one who converted you, I think, wasn't I?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Originally, because I think you were buying all of your things like a couple of years ago. You were buying all of a branded product, weren't you?
Yeah, I've always used branded dosing, but particularly with magnesium, every now and then, like I've checked my excuse me, I've done a test on my magnesium for the first time in like 6 months because I get lazy with it. It won't change. Exactly. Excuse me. And your magnesium's like 1100, and you're like, oh, okay, I need to do something. But it turns out, so you go and buy a half-liter bottle of magnesium, and you dose like 20 mil a day, and it doesn't do anything. So you're like, okay, 50 mil a day, that doesn't do anything. 100 mil a day, that doesn't do anything. Half a litre all in one go. Oh, it's nudged it up a tiny bit.
Yeah.
And it turns out you need to get magnesium up from 1100 to 1300 or whatever.
Yeah.
You need a lot.
Yeah.
You would need to spend hundreds on
Yeah.
reefing bottles. So that's why I started doing this, because I started buying bottles. It just wasn't moving the needle. And then suddenly you add in a ton, like 10 liters, and it's like, now it's back to where it should be.
Yeah.
So if you were doing 10 liters at reefing prices,
yeah,
you think so?
It soon gets expensive, doesn't it, with a big tank?
It does. So yeah. So there you go. So that's but just it was so annoying. I've got that massive bag now.
As I said, I've got 2 of those, so I've got twice the travel because I won't use them for ages.
Yeah, indeed. Someone says, can you make the same magnesium and calcium together? What do you mean in the same bottle?
I would say he means mixing. Can you mix them together? I actually don't know. I know magnesium keeps calcium and alkalinity from combining with each other, but I'm not. You'd have to measure out the exact doses, I think.
I wouldn't. But
yeah, no, as in I wouldn't suggest doing that. But
normally, if you buy dosing solutions, the alkalinity is on its own and the calcium and magnesium is together. So
are they?
So it would make sense if you can. But to be honest, the reason that I buy them, well, he's asking for himself, but the reason I do it is because I specifically want them to be separate, so I can control them separately. I need to do a video on that. I'm going to do a video on how to make how to dose Calquasa in 2026, because I watched the BRS video, not BRS, Serious Reefs video the other day. And they were talking about all the reasons that people don't dose Calquasa and how many problems it can cause, all this sort of stuff. And I was listening to it and I was like, this must be like an era thing, because I only started really 5 years ago, and all of the things that they were talking about just don't affect me at all because I dose it in the modern way, in inverted commas. I don't just whack it in my auto top-off reservoir. And I was just like, that's weird. I've literally never had that at all, and it's never even crossed my mind that it's an issue. So I'll make an updated video. But I still get asked, people still ask me, can I put Calquasa in my auto top off? It's like, well, it is possible to do it, but it's a terrible idea. Don't.
It's just not recommended.
yeah, for a number of reasons. But anyway, there we go. That's my calcium drama. I feel like I interrupted you.
No.
Oh no. I was asking you about your bulk reef supply UK.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, to me, the funny thing is that is how bulk reef supply started, if you think about it. But
yeah, exactly.
I just thought to myself, look, I don't sell. I'm not allowed to sell dry goods, so why not just make my own? And then people would soon be like, "Oh, we probably should have sold him dry goods."
Yeah, exactly.
But it just to be fair, like, I got too much going on to enter into a new thing. I'm always doing something, aren't I? Always doing something. Always got some idea. But we shall see. We shall see. As I said, it's not a definite no. It's just to do it on a large enough scale, it will require, like, I can't just go. I can't just mix up 500 mils each time someone wants it, if you see what I mean, and then ship it over to them. It's like I need to go, right, I'm going into this properly to do it. There is a machine that you can use, and I don't think it's overly expensive that you could use to specifically for filling bottles to the exact amount, and it fills them pretty quickly. It's like £1,000. It's not like crazy money, not for a proper machine, and it is 4 chemicals. And there's also, I found a label machine that can label bottles really quickly. So what you could do is you could make a batch. I like how you're smiling, because you're like, he's put loads and loads of effort into researching this.
You thought about it, yeah.
And he got to one section of it, and he's like, nope, I'm not doing anymore. But yeah, there's a machine where you put bottles on it, and it automatically rolls the labels on them really, really quickly,
Yeah. Okay.
When I say machine, it's a manual thing, but I actually got the idea because someone was it was on YouTube. Someone was explaining how they fill glue bottles, and I just thought that exact procedure could be done to make chemicals, because you just have to make the solution and then just get everything that the person says. So we shall see. As I said, I'm not. It's not my priority focus at the moment, but you never know. Maybe one day. So,
I'm not going to hold my breath. I don't think that's going to happen. Because you started talking to me about this more than a year ago, I think.
No, I know, but it's not exciting for me.
Exactly. All the more reason it's not going to happen.
Yeah. Well, look, part of me wonders sometimes you say things like this if to like motivate me to proving you wrong.
I don't. If you take that, then wicked. But I'm just
Yeah.
like, no, this is not going to happen.
So, well, we'll see. We shall see. Yeah. As I said, it's an entirely different field to go into. That when I say field, like I'm not sure why I say field, but it's entirely different area.
It is. Yeah.
And I don't know enough about it. I don't know about the liabilities of it. I don't know about.
It's not just mix some stuff up, put in a bottle, sell it. You know.
That's the thing. The main thing is I don't know what the liabilities are for it. Now, if anyone out there is a chemical person, you know, it was really interesting. I did a consultation on, I think it was Monday, and a guy actually listens to the podcast sometimes, and he works with CITES permits. Like it was so interesting to me because I thought if I ever wanted to go down this route, sometimes the channel introduces you, or even life introduces you to people sometimes. So like it's not that difficult, I don't think, to if I wanted to import corals myself, I don't think it's that difficult to do. I just have to go to the airport and pick them up. But all that complicated paperwork, when someone knows what they're doing, it's not as complicated as you think it is.
Everything in life always seems really complicated, and so you don't do it. And then when you give it a crack, some things that I'm sure, like rocket science, I'm sure is difficult, but almost everything is like when you try it, you're like, oh, that was really easy. Reefing, for example, you build it up. Like I did 2 years of research, so I was like, oh, it's so much more difficult than freshwater. I just don't know how I'm going to do it, but I need to know everything. And then you start it, and it's difficult, but it's like, oh, actually, this is way easier than I thought. It's just everything's quite simple. So.
Yeah, and maybe I worry too much. See, look, Spiritual Reefer, I actually don't know what he does, but he just said I'm happy to talk to you about the legalities of selling and shipping chemicals. So maybe he works in some chemical.
Well, one thing he does is he sells ABC reagents for Neptune Trident. marine-spec.co.uk.
There you go. So maybe I already know the person I need to talk to.
There you go.
But, what was I saying? I've lost my train of thought now. But I think sometimes you're meant to go down. Like this has always worked. This is always how my life has been. Like sometimes you're meant to go down a path, and you don't know you're meant to go down that path, but you start walking down it, and then it becomes clear. Like I don't know why you're laughing, as if I'm some sort of like believe in something. I don't know, but yeah, sometimes life shows you, and so far life hasn't showed me that's the way to go. Whereas many times before, I've thought about importing corals many times, and you have to import boxes and boxes. But at the moment, I've got like enough space that if I wanted to have 10 boxes, I could import them easily, I reckon. So plus I've got an empty water box tank. So see how life shows you. And it probably is simple. It probably is something that is after you do it the first time, it's probably very like transactional, where you just go, right, you fill out this form with these details, and then they arrive at the airport.
Yeah.
Which sounds mega complicated when you don't know how to do it, but once you've done it once, it's probably easy.
They arrive at the airport and half of them are dead.
Possible. But how is it any more risky than when I do... so some people sell boxes of coral, which is what I do at the moment, where you buy through a consolidator. So they will sell to 10 shops. So they're doing the same thing, but they do the paperwork for you. So the risk is exactly the same. There's no additional risk. It's just in theory the coral should be cheaper. But we'll see. As I said, you know me, I have all these genius ideas. Next week you're like, oh, you important corals? Like, nah, terrible idea.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I need to look at
do you, Ryan?
Like how much of a difference it makes. Does it make like 50% difference, or does it make 5% difference? How much of the markup is the consolidator putting on? Because if it's huge, then it's worth it, and if it's not huge, then
there's a lot of work and not much benefit.
Yeah.
Then.
So,
okay.
Yeah. so that is probably the most interesting parts of my week, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've talked about a few things. First off, I've got the ugly stage, the other things that are going on in my my TMC tank. And actually, I've temporarily switched back to I had the AI blade in there, and I switched back to the stock light. But actually, I'm going to switch back to the AI blade. The problem with the stock light is you can't turn it down. It's either full intensity or not at all. And for the first month or so, you want it to be at like 10%. Like I want the light to be on, but I don't want it to be feeding all the uglies. So I'm going to switch back, but it's fine. I just put some cleanup crew in. So but it's just got to the point where it's just like there's diatoms everywhere and it's getting worse.
It's just like, brown, is it?
Exactly, yeah. And at the end of the day, in a couple of weeks' time, it'll burn off and it'll all be fine. But
as long as it is diatoms and not dinoflagellates, then you'll be fine.
There were a couple of bubbles.
Oh, you might be in for a rough ride.
I know, yeah. But it's all pretty standard stuff, to be fair. But yeah, it's fine. It's going all right. And just those fish are just so cool. The puffer and the boxfish.
I'm glad they're doing well, because obviously boxfish sometimes can be a pain, and they can be a bit finicky.
He's a terrible hunter. So I've been putting in live mysis. I've stopped it now because they're like half the size of him. But I put in live mysis, and one will swim past him, and he'll just like follow it for about 5 seconds, and then try to attack it. Eventually, he'll choose which one to go for very carefully, and then he'll try to attack it, and he'll swim away. And he's like, oh, he's not very good at hunting. I'm guessing that's not his natural prey. Or maybe it's when they're that size, they go for
crustaceans off the rocks,
brine shrimp, or or cobra pods, that sort of thing. But anyway, he's better at with frozen mysis. He's better, and he goes for that. He does the same thing where he'll see a bit and he'll follow it. And if it happens to go into the pattern of the flow and blows away, he's stuffed. But he eats enough of it, so he's doing all right.
You wonder how that survives in the harsh environment of the ocean, don't you?
There's a lot more food in the ocean. If there was this little food and more competition, it'd be stuffed.
I know, but it's true. If you think about it, like, how does that little tiny pea-sized fish survive, like in the big wild?
Yeah, he's a bit pathetic.
So, but it makes me want one. That's what it does. It makes me want one.
Do it.
Why not?
Why not?
Sometimes you have like a fish that you just can't replace. That's what it's like for me.
Okay. No, I don't know that. You're talking to the wrong person.
No, I don't know that. They're all replaceable.
Yeah.
No, I just think, I don't know. I know that people don't have huge success with them. And I don't know if I got lucky. I don't know if you're lucky. I don't know how much, like, is it that 50% of people have success? 5% of people? I don't know. So I just know that not loads of people have them. Let's put it that way. Long term, it might purely come down to feeding.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe because quite often they won't eat. I think you got lucky, because not lucky, but there were 30 of them. And I picked the one that was eating.
Exactly, yeah. I know a guy who looks after me. Exactly. And he's been great ever since. I threw in a load of live food to start with, to be fair.
Yeah.
And I was overfeeding, which is what caused the ammonia spike. But it's fine now. To be fair, even now I put in so much extra media that I reckon I could go back to feeding heavily and it would be fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the other thing. Like I said this on the video the other day. Like, it's a really bad idea to get a finicky fish as your first fish, because you have to do things like wang in a load more food, and then that causes knock-on problems. So like, even if you're thinking, well, Alex is doing all right with it, it's like it's a pain. And even the corals, I didn't mention this. Did I mention it on the live stream? Can't remember. But the corals, so I put a load of zoas in. They're pretty hardy. They're going to be okay, basically. And if they're not, I'll whip them out, put them back in my main tank. But the zoas are in there. And some of them are stretching up towards the light. Well, they all are, basically, because they're not getting enough light. Because I've had the light, when I had the blade in there, I had it on at 10%, because you don't want high light. So if you put corals in early on, then you're going to have to put your lights up. If you put your lights up, you're going to get algae everywhere. If you put your lights down, your coral's going to be unhappy. So it's just like, it's a bad idea. Just don't do it. Just chill out for a couple of months and then start doing it. But I'm giving myself a headache that I don't need to.
I really think that in this hobby, I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's complacency or whatever, but basically what happens is when you're an experienced person, like you've been doing this for a while, you do the things that you shouldn't do and you tell other people not to do, but you do them anyway.
Well, it's two things. So firstly, you know that you can do it. So like when the ammonia spike that I got, I knew that I could mix up enough water in.
Yeah.
If I had no water available, 2 hours later I could have it ready to go basically.
Yeah.
And I know that I know that when I see it, I'll deal with it. And I know, like, if it's your first tank, you wouldn't necessarily know what to do and you'd be worrying, but I know what to do. So it's two things. Firstly, it's, you know, you can deal with it. But secondly, definitely you get complacent 100%.
Sure,
And you just think
the right word. Is it not like
arrogant, maybe?
Or a false sense of security,
Because you
think...
also, I find that I think to myself, well, I know what I'm doing, so I'll be okay. And it's like, well, it doesn't matter if you know what you're doing. If you're doing, what means that you'll be okay is if you're doing the right thing. So just sitting there going, I've got knowledge, it's fine. Don't make any sense, but I do that.
Do you ever do something and think to yourself, this will be fine, but you do it on impulse?
Yeah.
So like one day you're like, oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to go grab the Zoas and put them in that tank. It takes you 5 minutes to do. And the next day you've got all the ugly stage. And you're like, oh, I wish I hadn't done that because
all the time.
I knew it was the wrong thing to do, but I wanted to do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Excuse me. But the other thing I've been doing that I've been getting really excited about, I've given myself a CAD boner, Ryan.
Okay.
This is computer aided design. So when you design stuff for 3D printing and you design something really good, I love what I've done. So it's this.
Really good. Did you hear that? If he does say so himself.
Yeah. So might not look that special, but it's so.
Definitely.
Hang on, go back. So at the moment, this is what's above my tank. It's the Red Sea pendant that holds the Red Sea lights. To be fair, it's really nice, very stylish. Any hanging light setup is great. Looks really nice. But I've ruined it by putting that janky AI blade setup on it. And what I realized was when I bought it, I have white walls, so I decided to get the white one because I thought the white will blend into the background. But it turns out actually when you put black lights on it and light shines off the white stuff, it just stands out. So I want a black one now. And I've decided to make myself a slicker one, and I've done this. So it
looks like you need to dust those lights as well.
Oh mate, that's 2 years of dust those. So
look at the top of them.
I know. I'll go back. I'll do it when I was looking at them today. Actually, I'll do it when I take them down. But no one dusts their lights. Come on.
To be fair, like you should see the dust on top of the Coral Farm lights.
Exactly. But I've decided to make my own one, and so I've got these 2 lengths of aluminium profile, and then I've 3D printed a load of brackets to hold all the lights and that sort of stuff. And it took me a little while to get it all perfect, but it's so good, honestly. It's like I'm not going to sell these. It's like it's niche as hell. So this isn't like an Etsy advert, but it's just it's going to be so awesome when it's done. I'm really excited.
It'll take you too long to make them for it to be worthwhile as well.
Sorry. Oh yeah. If you were to buy these, you need to have the Red Sea pendant and be prepared to get rid of it because there are bits of I'm using parts of the Red Sea pendant, so it's not a cheap way of doing it. So the number of people who would want this are very small anyway. And the number of people who would be prepared to buy the Red Sea pendant, throw away most of it and keep the little bits are tiny. So I'd sell one in like 10 years. And so I'd have to, it'd have to be like 100 anyway, whatever. I love when you design detailed stuff like this and you spend time getting it perfect. I love it. It's so cool.
I'm not sure how I can add to this. I know you're very excited about your hanging pendant, but
I know.
I cannot be as excited. I think you're talking to an audience of one. Which might be you.
Yeah, I know. But I love it because the thing is, this is the great thing about 3D printers, particularly with reefing, is I wanted to make something that just doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And you can make it. And it's actually, so when CAD sounds complicated, but you can teach it to yourself, and it takes a bit of time, but it's not that difficult. You don't have to be like a genius. Anybody can do it. So if you take time and do it and learn it and spend 6 months getting it wrong and getting better, you can do it. And when you make something like that, it's like, this didn't exist, and now this is exactly what I had. Something in my head, and now I've made exactly
Okay,
that.
I kind of get what you mean in terms of like the sense of achievement.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
would make, you're like, yeah, I know what you mean now.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
But it's lights at the end of the day, so who cares? And this is the sort of thing that so actually, although it looks a little bit, my current setup looks a little bit messy, it's still fine. So this is going to be like 1% better, but I like it. So
I look forward to seeing it up. Then I'll be excited for you.
Yeah, it's almost done. It should be going up. I just ran out of time. Basically, it should be going up tomorrow. Maybe we'll see. I'm going to try to actually. So at the moment, excuse me, I do a oh, my thing's turned itself off. That's annoying. Hang on. I know. There we go. It's back on. Right.
I wanted to ask you for ages. Like, why is there a clock in the background? I've never there's never been a clock in the background before, and I now realize it's not a clock.
I've pressed a button to change it. Anyway, so at the moment I'm doing a video every fortnight on the Reef Dork channel, right? And other videos elsewhere and that sort of stuff, but one video a fortnight. And what I tend to do is, when I started this, when I went down to 2 weeks, I was like, I'm going to spend 2 weeks getting it really good and making amazing videos. That lasted about 3 months, and then it was like, this is too much. It was just too much. So now what I do is I have a week off and a week on. And what I do now is I make a video. So a video went up on Friday. And now this next week I'll have off. But what I find is that causes me headaches. It just causes me stress, basically, because then suddenly the next week that I've got to upload the video, I've got to do it that week. I've got a week to do it. So this week, for example, I didn't finish it until like 5 o'clock and it's supposed to go live at 4. So I was working, and I happened to have the day off on Friday, which was fortunate because otherwise it wouldn't have happened. But it makes me stressed now. So what I'm going to try to do is, instead of making the video in the second week, I'm trying to make it in the first week, upload it a week ahead of schedule, so it's just sitting there, and then I can have a week to chill out.
It won't happen.
It will happen for the first week.
I was going to say, I bet for the first week it happens. See, I can only make videos when I'm like absolutely up against like proper pressure. But I usually leave it until the day. Most of my videos are made on the day, and sometimes you can tell. But it's because I always think, oh, if I do 2, I can relax for 2 weeks. I just never can. That motivation comes from the stress for me. So
that's the thing, because you have to. My dream is to have like a bank of 5 or 6 all done, uploaded. Like, even if I just spent a month blitzing it and then get ahead, and then it doesn't matter. I've had that a couple of times where I've got 1 week ahead or like a fortnight ahead or whatever. And I'm like, okay, great, I'll just keep that in the bank. And then you think, oh, well, then there'll come a time when I need the break and I'll just use it then. But what you do is you just think, actually, you know what, I'm just going to give myself 2 weeks off now and catch that in straight away. But yeah, we'll see. I'd love to do that because I feel like it would make me less stressed.
Well, we shall. Yeah, there you go. You never know. You may prove me wrong.
I don't think I will, if I'm honest. But anyway, I think that's more or less all the stuff I've been up to. So we're going to move on to member questions. Questiones. So the first one is from Bish Bash Ash, who says, if 10 was the most obsessed you've ever been with a hobby and 1 was almost quitting, where are you now on where are you now on that scale, and what point were you 10?
It's interesting. Sometimes people ask really interesting questions, and I just think if someone asked me to ask them with these sorts of things, they're quite like intricate questions, if you see what I mean. Where you go first?
You want some thinking time. Scale of 1 to 10.
No, I already know the answer for mine.
Oh, really? I find it a little bit difficult to answer because 1 to 10. If it's based on how much time and money I spend on my hobby, well, then I'm at 11. Exactly, yeah, and I've been there for a while now. But obsessed with, I think, is, I don't know. I feel like that point has peaked in the past when everything is amazing. Because when you do something for long enough, it doesn't get boring. This hobby doesn't get boring, but you know what I mean. You lose that unbelievable, wow, everything's incredible. So I don't know at what point I've peaked, but I reckon I'm an 8 or a 9, maybe. I don't know, but nowhere near as upset. Probably that might even be a bit toppish, maybe a 7 or an 8. But and one was almost good. Where are you now on that scale? 7 or an 8? And what point were you at a 10? What point I was at a 10? Maybe early days, maybe the first couple of years.
The excitement of the early years.
Exactly, yeah, the honeymoon period.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Like the first week when you put a clownfish in and there's no like ugly stage or anything, that's when you're like, yeah, this is amazing. all downhill after that.
Yeah, basically. So yeah, I think I've probably been pretty steady at it for a while, because you don't get into the hobby and drop out of it really. But
I think that for me, like, it's difficult to not say a 10 because like I turned it into my life.
It's literally your job, yeah.
It is all I do all day, every day. And the nice thing, I said this to Rachel actually yesterday, like I have spent all day on Saturday, which is most people's weekend, like taking pictures and editing pictures and uploading to a website. And it doesn't feel like work. Like, it's fun. Like with the pictures, you're like trying to get better pictures than you've done previously. And sometimes I update the website with pictures from the auction site if the picture's better. So I just like swap the pictures over. So it's like small incrementally like improvements. But in terms of like enthusiasm for the hobby, it would probably be, I would say, a 6. And the reason I say 6 is because when something becomes your job, it's not the same as when, like, the difference between me and you is you go to work all week and then your way of relieving stress is going to the fish shop. I don't get that anymore, if you see what I mean. It's just, this is the one thing I didn't realize, that it would fundamentally change how I felt about the hobby. I love my job. I still enjoy it, but it's not a form of stress relief. It's not a form of entertainment. When you go, oh, what do I do today? I'm going to go to the fish shop. The fish shop is me. So like it doesn't have the same effect. Do I like getting new fish still? Absolutely. Like, someone showed me their so I went to a different wholesale on Friday to one I usually go to, and they had a Neptune grouper. Do you know what a Neptune grouper is?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I'd never seen one in real life before. Yeah. So
like a 10 grand fish, isn't it?
Pardon, sorry?
It's like a 10 grand fish, isn't it?
I don't know how. Yeah, I thought they were like 7 grand. Now, obviously, they imported themselves, so I don't know what it cost them. But they're a deep water fish. It was in the dark, so I didn't really get to see it. But I just thought, well, I've never really seen one of those before. So every so often, I get like little bits of, like, it's hard to describe, like enthusiasm.
Yeah.
So, like, I think yesterday, while I was taking pictures of the clove polyps, I put a clove polyp colony on the auction site.
Hang on a second, have you seen this one?
Yeah. Well, that person didn't realize what they had. Yeah, I put a clove polyp colony. I'm trying a few different things. Like, do people want colonies? Do they want frags? Do they want, like, you see what I mean? So I put a colony of clove polyps up, and while I was taking pictures of it, I got to appreciate that this colony looks slightly brighter than the other one. So there's like, and why that stuck with me when I deal with thousands of corals. I've sold, it was crazy. I've sold, I think, like 4,000 corals through the auction site. Like, because I saw the amount the other day, and I was like, I did not realize that's how many I'd sold through it. But yeah, so when you're dealing with like tens of thousands of corals all the time, like sometimes you get like a little bit of appreciation just because one's slightly different to another one. I've got a couple of frog spawns and hammers that are just totally different to anything that I've seen previously. So I'm going to put those in the water box. They're not the nicest hammers. They're not like, oh, these crazy ones. They're just different. So I thought, yeah, I'll put that in there. See if I could sell it and I might get 50 quid for it or whatever. I could put it in there and have something that's a bit different to everyone else. So, and like the other thing I've started to appreciate, goniastrias. Like no one likes goniastrias. Like they're just, I would say they're one of the least, like people want hammers, frog spawns, torches.
Isn't the Dragon Soul Fabio a goniastria? That's what's coming up when you search goniastria.
It is, but I'm talking about the more like weird, intricate ones that people like. There's lots of different colors of them. You just don't see that often. Okay. So you're looking underwhelmed.
No, these are nice. These are really nice. Even like boring green one. That's lovely.
But you can get these all the time. They are readily available. Whenever you get like shipments in, they're usually the extra ones that no one wants. And I've found a few unusual ones recently. I don't know if you saw the video I put out of the coral auctions this week. You did, yeah. Well, some of the ones I pointed out there were goniasteres. And I just thought to myself, if this doesn't sell tonight, I'm going to put this on the war box because I didn't realize I actually had 2 of them in the end. So if it does sell, it doesn't matter because I'm going to put one in there anyway.
There are a couple there that I went looking for on your website, but I couldn't find them. I don't know if they already sold. Yeah.
Tell me about it at the end because they should have all been on there. They're not on my website; they're on the auction site.
I checked. Well, in the video, you said these are on my website and the auction site.
Some of them are. Were they the gonnies?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, anyway,
I got loads of them, so as in, I'm sure we'll be able to sort something.
Yeah. Yeah. So goniastrea, sorry.
Yes. Whereas I would say that goniasteres would probably be often an overlooked coral in a shop. So, but I just thought, well, my tank will look different to other people's if I put that in it because no one else wants it. So, we'll see. I just, I think, that's what I mean. I think you find joy in different things. Some people find joy in jelly bean chalices. They don't do anything for me. Just don't care. Whereas if you find some weird thing, I got a really weird, got a strange gorgonian at the moment. You know, I had that thick branch one that I got from
the bushy one.
Yeah, and I've also got the thin one. I found another one which is like almost like a much paler pink, which is also thick but different. So you see what I mean? I like the weird stuff now, and that's what Jake happened to Jake Adams as well. You know how he was dealing with loads and loads of corals.
Yeah.
In the end, he became well known for only being interested in like the weird brown stuff.
Yeah, completely.
That no one else wants.
Yeah.
So I think that might be just a natural progression.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, for sure. So, there's a follow-up question from Bish Bash Ash as well. He says, well, what does your wife think of the hobby? What does she have much interest in it? So Mrs. Reef Dork is into the hobby. Like if I buy a coral, she'll and I'll say, what coral do you think that is? And let's say it's a torch or an acro. Yeah. She'll be like, is it a Zoa? It's like swing and a miss. But
look, you're a very lucky man. Does she still listen on the way to work?
Speak of the devil. Sometimes.
But okay, you're a very lucky man. So,
but actually, so she's quite into it. She loves the box fish and the puffer.
Yeah.
And is extraordinarily tolerant and understanding that this is something that I'm quite into, and takes over. Basically, it's not just because it's not like just having one big fish tank in the living room, which takes up most of the living room. Everywhere in the house, you go into any room at any one time, there's probably a 25-litre barrel of RODI water, or a 10-kilogram bag of magnesium, or a test kit, or a bloody 3D printed light bracket that I'm making every room. And she doesn't kick me out of the house, so that's good going. But she's into it enough. She likes it. I don't think she'd ever set up her own tank, but
it is actually someone just working right. It should be. I don't see any reason why it's not. I just checked and it seems to be working fine. But I don't think people realize how much it can affect a partner. Now, I don't know if you had your tank when you first met Miss Reef Dork, but obviously Rachel, Rachel was new to the I had to introduce her to the fish tank. So, and I think it makes a massive difference. If your partner even shows a remote bit of interest, it makes a massive difference to the hobby. I'm very lucky. Rachel actually quite enjoys it. Rachel could name a few things. I think partly that's because when she helped out at Aqua, she's learned quite a lot of the names of the corals, and she picks things up really, really quickly. And she loves the fish. Like when I'm selling fish to people and I bring all the fish home, and she's like, gets all the bags out, looking like, and then she's like, oh, can we get one of these? So she does but would she have her own tank? Probably not.
So yeah, that's the thing. I think anyone is going to will think it's cool because it is cool.
No, I disagree. That is not true. That is, I could 100% guarantee you that is not true. There are some people that come to the farm and their partners would rather sit in the car than look at coral. And that's just true.
Yeah, but that's going to that's like a coral farm is cool for if you're into corals. A fish tank is cool if you're not. A coral farm.
I know, but if you got the choice of sitting in the car or looking at coral, come on, it's got to be
I can
more
see why
interesting.
that's not that great. But to be fair, you're right that some people just aren't bothered. So
Yeah.
I'll concede that. But
So what I'm telling you is you need to go out tomorrow and buy Mrs. Reef Dork something nice, just to say I appreciate you. Yeah.
Next question is from Impatient Reefer. He says, Alex, when dosing reef sediment phosphate with an F into your Red Sea reef mat, this is lanthanum chloride basically. Do you just dangle the dosing line in there, or have you 3D printed a holder/bracket? If so, would you consider putting this on your Etsy? So this Etsy is funny with me. So I put a load of stuff on Etsy, on my Etsy, reefdork.etsy.com, 3D printed stuff that I sell. But a lot of the time as well, I'll make something that is just a one-off, and I don't upload it. Maybe it'd be useful for some people, maybe it wouldn't. I don't know. I do have a 3D printed tube holder that I put on my Red Sea reef mat that holds the tube so it drips it into the reef mat. But I'm not going to put it on the Etsy store. Firstly, it's just janky as hell. It's just a bit of plastic that just slides on. It's nothing special. And you can just dangle the dosing tube in anyway. To be fair, you don't need that. But it's rubbish. Some things, I think most of the stuff I put on Etsy, I'm actually proud of. Like, I've spent time on it. This is just a bit of plastic that goes over it. Maybe that doesn't matter. But anyway, no, I do have a 3D printed bracket that holds it in place. But you can just dangle it in. I did actually the first few days I dangled it, and then I was like, you know what, let's make something for this. But this is why 3D printers are so good for the hobby, because sometimes you just need a little wedge or a shim or a bracket or something, and you can knock one up. Anyway, Tomo Bish Bosch, next question, says, I noticed my Leptoseris stripping a little this week. I ended up moving it after thinking it's maybe getting too much light. It was sitting more or less halfway up the tank in my Max Nano Red Sea tank. So I'm hoping it will cheer up a bit and start growing. I did check parameters, all are okay. Okay, Ryan? Hello?
They're okay.
Ryan?
No, I know what you're saying. You're saying he said they were okay, but he didn't actually give you any. I was just checking because obviously they said the auction site wasn't working. So I'm like, is it not working? That's what I've been doing.
Calcium, magnesium, and alkalinity. Though my nitrates are a touch high, probably doesn't matter. They're in a good ratio with phosphate. We'll come on to actually that's a good point for the headline topic later. Is there some sort of guide of way to assess where best to place corals? I know that being aware of par levels is good, but I don't have a meter, and I'm going off what specs of the Red Sea Reef Lead 50 says par levels are when operating at 100%, scaling down based on the percentage I'm using at intensity-wise. 0.5% basically. So the best way with par, the best thing to do is buy a par meter on eBay, par-wise, or a Senai Reef. Senai Reefs aren't massively accurate, but they're accurate enough. Buy it on eBay secondhand, test it, and then sell it.
Yeah.
You'll probably break even, but worst case scenario, you might lose a tenner, and then it's cost you 10 quid to work out your par.
And if you get it wrong, 10 quid. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, exactly. If you can borrow one, great, but most people probably can't. So if you can't, buy one on eBay. They come up the Senai Reef comes up all the time. Don't know about the par-wise. Par-wise is better, but you can buy one and you can sell it on, and you won't lose any money, or you might lose a tenner basically. So that's what to do. Because you might actually be surprised that it's like the guide, like on the packet, sometimes is completely wrong. So like you might mix up salt, and you say, well, the salt box says 40 grams per liter, mixes up at 1.025, and then you do that and you test it, and it's like 1.029. So you can't always trust that. So I would just buy a par meter, secondhand one, and then sell it. The question was, is there a guide on where to assess where to best to place corals? As a general rule, the lower the better to start with, but I mean it depends on the coral really. But
Ryan, it depends what you're looking to get, because I can't say you should have it at this par, because if it's something that requires much higher par or much lower par, then it's like you need a par meter is the honest answer. And then we'll move on to I'll talk about the next bit in a second to do with flow, because that's another thing that people just go mad for. So, but Yeah, I would definitely the palm meter is the way to go. And then I would say tidal gardens probably would be the best bet to look at like accurate information for flow. Sometimes some of it's a bit generic, but the lighting is the one I would say the most important. You can tell if a coral is getting too much flow. You can't tell if it's getting too much light usually until it dies.
Yeah.
And you can usually tell if it's getting not enough light if with some things where they're like sort of stretching up or like blow up really big. But what's the point in guessing? You spend all of this money, probably thousands or at least 1,000, just get a par meter and sell it. So
yeah. But the trouble is with that, you can. It's like never ending, isn't it? You've got to draw the line somewhere. But you're right. But just buy one, a secondhand one, and sell it is the answer. But always with corals as well. If you're wondering if it's got too much light, always less is more. Always, it's very rare that I can probably count on the fingers of one hand the amount of corals I've had that weren't getting enough light to the point that it was damaging them or killing them. Whereas the number of corals that I've put under too much light, like thousands. So
100%. Like, and I remember I bought those zoas the other day to put on the auction site. I left one on the light stand where it's right up against the surface of the light. And I left it there and went out, came back, and it's basically melted all the zoas. Okay. It happened probably within, like, I reckon it was there probably for about 6 hours of like intense light. I turn the lights up to take the picture. It doesn't affect anything else, but if it's like got like an inch of water, then that's a lot of light for zoas to be getting. And literally the next day, half of them melted. So
okay.
So you can definitely kill them too quickly with too much.
For sure. Can I just turn the intensity down, or is it better to move them? You can just turn the intensity down, but then you're turning the intensity down for every coral in that tank, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But Leptoseris, I mean, I would guess my Leptoseris is in 100 par.
Mine would be in between 100 and 150. They also grow up, like into caves sometimes. They will literally grow downwards.
Shade,
so
under the rock,
yeah. So I wouldn't say they're. I know they're an SPS, but I wouldn't say they're like a really, really high par SPS.
I hate that they're classed as SPS. I hate it.
Why?
Because it's not an SPS. It's much more similar to an LPS, like in terms of care requirements.
Leptoseris?
In terms of care requirements.
Oh, care requirements, yeah, but they look like SPS.
Does it? Doesn't look like a branching SPS. That's what a normal. You get some encrusting SPS, but even that looks like an encrusting LPS to me. Anyway, this is my hill to die on, basically. So.
I'm sorry, I'm going to have to disagree with that. They have like the thinnest skeleton and tiny mouths, which is basically what they're like. They're like a crisp.
Favia.
No, Favias are thicker.
Yeah, a little bit.
I'm sorry. Anyway, this is one of those things we have to disagree on.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree. But leptos are fairly low light generally. But anyway, what else was I going to say? Something about the intensity of the light. Can't remember. Anyway, but less is more. Less is more, basically, on lights.
Someone said a minute ago, can you guess the intensity based on?
That was it. Yes, you can. That was exactly what I was going to say.
Just don't.
So go on to Serious Reefs. They've done. BRS Ryan has done a Serious Reefs Ryan, sorry, has done a video on how to estimate par based on watts per gallon. I can't remember what it is now, but if you look there, and it's like it won't be this, but it's 1 watt per gallon. So if you get a plug that reads the wattage, you can more or less, and it's a rough guide, but you could more or less set it based on that. So sign up to Serious Reefs for a month. I think like you can get it discounted for a month or whatever. It's 10 quid, even if it's not discounted. Buy a watt meter, and then you can get a rough idea. Or just buy a
look, Jamie split the cost with a few friends and rented one for 5 days. So, and I don't think it's a lot of money to rent them for 5 days.
What if you haven't got any friends?
That's true. We haven't got any friends, have we?
Exactly, yeah. But just me and you.
Definitely wouldn't trust you with something I rented.
I was going to say, you buy it and then you just send it to me. And then...
Well, isn't that exactly? I don't know if have you ever borrowed my par meter?
Yes, I gave it back.
Yeah, so that's exactly what happened. I bought it and then I gave it to you.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, but buying one is the best idea.
Also, I think it's really important that you read Prime Corals' comment is 3 up from the bottom.
It says hello.
No, the one below that. Leptoseris is defo SPS.
Hi, Murray's Reef in North Wales. Don't understand. Anyway, next question is from Skier Sailor Biker Guy, who says, last week Ryan mentioned removing mushrooms as if they were easy! Exclamation mark, which is like WTF.
I don't even remember talking about that.
Any tips for removing Discosoma? And no, I'm not ripping the whole rock out. Only need to remove the ones affecting other corals. So we often say that that's the best answer, actually. And but I think and it is genuinely is, but realistically, no one does that, especially if it's the bottom rock. Anyway, removing. So I'm the same. So I haven't had discos for a long time, but they're tough to get off when I've had them. Maybe I wasn't trying hard enough. How'd you do it? Same for recordias as well, by the way. Sorry?
Remove the rock, get a hammer, and smash it off.
Yeah. What if you can't do that?
I don't know, is the honest answer, because scraping them or whatever is not going to make a difference. Do you know what I would do? It depends as well. On old live rock or like actual sea rock, it's really porous. So you can literally get like the bone cutters or the toner cutters I use, that you can literally like cut into the rock to try to remove them. You can cut a chunk of rock out basically. But have they got one? Have they got 50? Because that would take a long time.
I think they would. If you said that they were easy to remove, I think they were expecting like you pull them or you push them or whatever. I don't know. But...
Oh no, I don't remember saying that they were easy. I may very well I did say it. Do you remember me saying that? Because I don't remember saying that.
I don't remember most of what you say.
I always break stuff up, so that's why it's different for me.
Oh, I see. But if this is the rock that's at the bottom of your aquascape, that's not an option to pull that out.
Are you planning to keep them? If you don't care about killing them, then that's a different story. But there will be stuff that you can do to kill them with. But
yeah,
it just depends on what type they are.
How would you kill it?
I actually don't know is the honest answer, because I'm not in the business of killing coral. Normally I try and keep it alive, but I know people have used like the Aptasia stuff and things like that, I think.
Aptasia. I just removed a load of Discosomas using a wide-nosed plastic tweezers. It's a bit of a faff and they'll grow back, but it cleared an area for a while.
I think we need to re-clarify what the word removed means, because if they grow back, they're not removed.
No, yeah, but well, yeah, this is true. Yeah. Anyway, he just said bit of a faff. I made a video, I don't know, 6 months ago,
yeah,
and I watched it back the other day, and I said bit of a faff about 35 times. It was like, it's just annoying. Anyway,
I would have watched it, but it was a bit of a faff. So
exactly. But there you go. There's Ryan's tips. I don't know what the tip was, but
take it out, break it up.
Exactly. I don't know was the answer. Anyway.
I think, as I said, I think people use Aptasia X. Some people will use vinegar or boiling water or all sorts of crazy ideas, but it just depends. People will get really, really defensive of their aquascape, and if it's at the very bottom, I understand. But the reality is, if you remove that rock, probably a week later, you would but you probably wouldn't care.
Yeah,
because you've got the one thing that's annoying you, which is the mushrooms.
Yeah. All right, we are now on to the Prestige Reef Fish of the Week.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
The fish of the week I've gone for this week.
Hang on a second.
Alex not ready, so we need to. Are you going to do a drum roll or just
hang on a second.
Stall for time?
Media assets, music. There we go.
Oh, there you go. Will you let me know when you're ready?
Go on then.
Okay, so I'm trying to pick interesting fish which other people potentially won't have seen that often. I don't. Have you seen these?
I definitely seen the group. I don't know if I've seen a specific one.
Okay, so I have gone for a striped garden eel. So garden eels are pretty rare, I would say, in the hobby. You normally see like the ones that have got almost like leopard print on them. They're like green with black dots. You can see them there. Yes.
Yeah.
But I've gone for the orange striped ones because I personally think that they look cooler than the green ones. But maybe they look cooler just because they're less common, and because when I saw them, I was like, "Oh, I've never seen those before." But they are very difficult to keep.
They're so cool.
See, Alex loved them.
So this was one of the first fish I saw when I joined before I joined the hobby. Yeah. And they always had these in my local maidenhead. They always had a tank full of them, and they're just so cool. But I do wonder if it's one of those fish that you'd be, or is it even a fish? One of those creatures that
Yeah, I think
like
they are fish.
for the first week or whatever, it'd be the best thing ever, and then after that, you'd be like, "Is that all you do?"
Yeah, it just sits there.
It's just Bob, yeah. But they are
Rocking back.
just so cool.
I think a lot of time they don't even come out because most people try and keep them. Look, if you know what you're doing and you want garden eels, you wouldn't have other fish with them. But most people don't know what they're doing when they buy
You
them.
just have a tank with a 10-inch sand bed
Yeah,
and no corals.
yeah. You can usually tell if a maidenhead has them in long before you actually see them because they've got a big thick sand bed in the coral, not the coral, in the tray usually. But yeah, I think feeding them can be difficult, but there's lots of fish that are relatively difficult to feed. And now that you can get copepods and stuff like that pretty much readily available, if you're willing to buy enough of them, you can probably keep them alive.
I don't think I've ever seen anybody keep garden eels at home.
Yeah, but who's buying them from the shops then?
People who then kill them or
that's exactly what I mean. I don't think
put them in a reef tank with 2-inch sand bed. Yeah, but that's so. I've never seen a garden eel setup. It would be amazing. I'd love to. I'd love it. Well, I love the idea of it.
You should have done that with your little tank.
Nah.
Why not? Because a minute ago you were saying how cool it was.
Yeah, if someone else did it. How much are they? How much is a garden eel?
I actually don't know. I don't think they're horrifically expensive. I definitely don't know about those ones.
Marineworldaquatics.co.uk, £78 each.
Is that for a standard one or for the
striped one that you've just showed is £95 at Rock and Critters. Wow.
So I wouldn't say they're like crazy expensive.
Yeah, but you don't buy one, do you? You buy like
that's
10.
True. You buy like 10.
And then you've spent £1,000.
Yeah, true. Well, £1,000 on fish that probably won't stay alive. So I just thought I wanted to pick a fish which I thought was interesting, because you have made a game where I have to try and people vote. Are people voting?
I'm surprised. 57% yes. I'm going to win the poll.
So they're not overly popular.
You can argue with me that they're not a fish you would want to keep, but if you're telling me it's not cool, you and I can't be friends.
Well, they're not for me. Right.
Well, you're not my friend anymore. So.
well. Apparently you did a show on your own the other day on Friday, so apparently you don't need.
No, it was brilliant as well. Do you not think they're cool?
Look, I think, to be fair, I think most eels are cool. When I see them at the wholesaler, I'm like, and it doesn't matter if it's like an eel that's going to eat the other fish. I'm just like, I'd love to have an eel. It'd be well cool. I do think they're cool, but I would rather get like a snowflake eel or a zebra eel than one of those.
If you could put them in
a seahorse tank, which I won't because seahorses are like the worst fish ever, where you had garden eels, seahorses, pipefish. Those are I can kind of see that tank being a thing. Although the chances are the seals are so stupid that they probably try and like hook onto the garden eels, and then the garden eels would never come out. But
go on. Sorry.
No, I was saying like a real peaceful tank. I could kind of see that being a thing, but probably not for me.
If you could keep garden eels in a normal reef tank and they just go sideways in the sand bed and stick their head out, I would have them 100%.
Would you?
Yeah, for sure. They're just so cool. But actually, maybe I wouldn't because they look coolest when they're in a proper setup. Are just so cool. They're just too much of a. It's too niche, and you wouldn't have corals in that tank because you would.
I have to Google something. Because apparently there's something called a golden bastard eel, which
golden bastard. Oh yes, golden bastard. You
I don't know if this is real, but if it is real, then this is. I mean,
the golden moray eel, bastard eel, or conger moray eel. That's on Wikipedia as well, so it's a fact. Yeah. Let's have a look. There we go. Yeah, here is the golden bastard eel.
Those are banana eels, I think. Which I think that is like never has a fish been named better than that.
This variant of the golden tail bastard moray is known as the banana eel. Why is it called a bastard?
What if that's just someone who got bitten by that moray, so just called it
you bastard?
And then people think that's what they're called now. Yeah. But I've always wanted golden eels. Always, and I don't even know why, if I'm honest, because they probably eat I quite like small fish these days, and they probably eat them. Yeah, it clearly bit them like they bought it. They caught it.
Oh, you bastard! Yeah, yeah. They're I don't know. They're I think you'd need a big tank to get the most of that. Because do they ever swim across the tank, or do they just?
What, golden eels?
Yeah, do they hide on the rocks?
Golden eels are really thin and small, and they're quite secretive, but they will eat other fish. I think small fish. They might not take a tang, but they'll take a goby. So
okay.
They're a predator at the end of the day. And it's the same as I always say. You can have anything, but not everything. And in this case, I'd rather have everything than the golden moray eels. Plus, you get them from Hawaii, I think, most of the time. So you don't.
Right. Okay.
I think you can get them from somewhere else, but very, very rarely.
Okay. What is the Prestige Reef coral of the week?
I've gone for a 24K lithophyllum. This is one of those corals that you have to see in person, really. But they are like, see, that's the color of them. And that's my picture. So it's not a great picture, but they are that colored gold. And people like
just for you, those watching, do you think that's gold?
Oh, once again,
and if you do, I've got a bridge to sell you.
Everyone, even if you don't think it's gold, just say yes, because we can continue the story about Alex being colorblind.
But not colorblind.
So that is gold. That is as gold as you can have, like of basically any coral.
It's basically blue.
But how is that blue?
Half blue. That's not gold.
You're not doing yourself any favors.
Yeah,
I know that
it's orange.
Well, gold orange is yellow. So lots of people say yellow. So that
gold is yellow.
Gold is yellow. Gold's a type of yellow.
Okay.
I'm gonna go. Well, it's more gold than that golden bastard I can assure you.
Anyway, so tell me about the 24K lithophile.
They're
Ryan, hang on a second. Out of stock on your website. You've got to start doing fit coral of the week that you can sell.
No, I just it don't matter to me. They're relatively fast growing. I can usually not grow them fast enough for to keep up with the demand, because when people see them, they're like, "Oh, that's a really cool piece." Those are some completely different corals, just so you know. That's a C3PO lithophyllum, and the other one is a watermelon samacora. So, but yeah, they're a piece which is like really, really gold, and people usually like gold in their tank. Anything that's not green, people like usually.
That's more gold. That's a 24K gold.
That is more orange.
I'm
going to Google. Actually, I've just Googled gold. None of them look gold. I Googled gold to see what color it was.
Yeah. Gold color, funnily.
But they're pretty easy to keep. They don't require that, but they're similar to Leptoseris, I'd say. Still an SPS coral. They're one of the corals which they will grow over everything. That's the one downside of them. But I think they are underrated, even though people want them.
So I have a lithophyllum. It is a I don't know. It's green. I don't know what it is, but it's green. But it almost completely encrusts. But there are a couple of bits where it not branches up, but it kind of plates up like a pavona. I don't think it's a pavona.
It's interesting. If you send me a picture of it, and it might look, corals are misidentified all the time. Even on my own website, there'll be some corals which are favias that are actually goniastrias, or the other way around, or chalices, which might be something similar. So I bought a chalice the other day on Friday, and I'm looking at it going, this doesn't look like a chalice, and this came from the wholesaler. So it's entirely possible it might be something different. So just send me a picture of it and I'll see if I know what it is.
Will do. Okay, so we've got the fish of the week and coral of the week done, which means we can now move on to the headline subject.
Yes.
And don't forget that we've got reefing scandal Reefgate to deal with later. So, right. But Ryan, what the hell are you talking about? Reef anxiety, letting go.
Right, the reason I came up with this idea is talked about, and the easiest way to describe it is that it was affecting me. Where basically I've got the water box tank, and there are things that we do sometimes which don't overly make sense, but we do them anyway. So this is what was happening. I wasn't cleaning the glass on the water box tank because I feared scratching the glass. which sounds bonkers, but I actually think this is more common than you think. Because I spoke to one of my customers the other day, and he went, "Yeah, oh, yeah, I scratched my glass the other day. I feel like I want a new tank now." And it's like, it's just a scratch. But so what? It's counterintuitive because the tank looks far uglier when it's not clean. But why am I cleaning it as little as possible to avoid scratching it? So it ruined the anxiety that causes ruins the hobby for people, and it's not just about the glass being scratched. I think it applies to people's parameters to some extent, pests especially. People have real fear of getting pests. I think that it is rightly so when it comes to disease. People should be anxious about disease, but not too anxious, is what I would say, because we both have had issues with quarantine, and I reckon there's loads of people that try quarantine their fish, and it doesn't. You have a higher death rate quarantining them than not quarantining them.
Much higher, yeah. But the problem with diseases, like, and this is the same for everything. That is what you're talking about. I think basically is you get to the point where you obsess about it, and you're so petrified, that you don't do it. And actually, this and like reefing, there's so many things that are true of reefing that are also true of life.
Yeah,
and it's the same with everything. Anything in reefing that sounds intimidating or that you're scared of, actually, when you give it a crack, almost always is fine. There are some exceptions. Acros are as hard as people say they are.
Yeah, true.
But
now, the reason I got my fear of scratches from was because I bought a tank years ago, and on I think the first or second day, this is not an exaggeration, I put a foot-long scratch in it on the first or second day, and then when you get a new tank, you go, "Oh, I'm never ever letting that happen again." But what you actually do is to protect yourself, you just let it get dirty, and then it looks ugly, and then you don't put coral in it, and then you hate it. So it actually ruins your hobby just because you don't want to put a scratch in it. Now that tank has a scratch in it now, a couple of like little inch ones, and it doesn't matter because I can see the fish and I appreciate the fish more than I notice the scratches.
So you don't notice scratches if it's covered in scratches, then you notice them. But like on my last tank, I had maybe a 2-inch scratch. It was actually quite deep on the inside of the tank, and every now and then I would notice it. But but like if I spent 2 hours looking at the tank in a week, I might notice it for 3 seconds of that. And then you don't notice it again. So even if that happened once, and I didn't scratch it again, and I sold it when I broke it down and cleaned it, there were no other scratches. Oh well, maybe some like scuffs. But then when you put water in, they disappear, don't you? On my main tank now, I've got a scratch on that. It's annoying. But and every now and then, actually on the Cade, I used to get this. I had the algae scraper, and you get a bit of sand in there that you don't notice, and you scrape it across the algae, and normally it just glides over. But every now and then I'd get it and go, "Eh," and it's just like, it's the worst sound. It's like when you curb your alloys. It's like, it's just
But life still went on.
Life, yeah. And actually, so on the K tank, I don't think, I'd have to go back and look, but I don't think I had any visible scratches. And I must have had half a dozen times you hear that sound, no problems.
Yeah, and Sorry Reefer has just said this exact same thing. It's like Zoanthid. You freak out when you first get them, but then you end up not even seeing them.
Fine, yeah.
And that applies to so many, like pests, Aptasia.
Aptasia, yeah.
Like everyone will get it eventually. I actually didn't realize how, like, I didn't have any Aptasia in my tank. I think for it must be something like 12 years,
like a long time. Yeah,
it was a really long time. But then I also think I didn't buy that many corals, and when the times when I did get Aptasia, I would just break the rock off and throw it away or whatever.
I mostly so you were lying. You did get it. You just
no, but what I'm saying, it was never in my tank. Like it never went crazy. And when I say like I broke it off, I think that might have been like 1 or 2 times, because every coral I cut off the plug and then stuck it in, and so it just never was an issue for me ever. Now it's entirely possible that I might have had a. That's the other thing. I had a cough band at the time, so I probably did have Aptasia. I just never knew about it because, like, if the fish had been in there for 6 years or whatever, you just never see one because it's always gone. So you're right. Maybe that's this proud thing I had of 12 years of no Aptasia might have just been inside a fish that ate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that most pests are inevitable. I would say. Would you agree?
When you say most pests, I think a lot
Uh,
of pests are inevitable. But when you say most pests, there are
Why?
some.
What would you say that isn't inevitable then?
So Acropora eating flatworms and all these sorts of things, and Monty nudies and those sorts of things. I was always scared of those, and I don't think I've ever had. Maybe I've had them in my tank, and because someone's going to comment now and say, "Oh, I saw it on one of your photos once." I don't think I've ever had a problem where I've started to lose corals because of Monty nudies or whatever. So I don't.
Wrasse deal with anything like that anyway,
It's
so
true.
you can have them and not even realize.
This is true. But you get the common ones, Aptasia, vermitids in particular. It's funny. I often get someone will comment on a video because they'll see vermitids in my tank.
Yeah.
I don't think I've got any in my main tank, to be fair. I probably have. Maybe I just haven't noticed them. But every now and then, like on the Cade, I had a few patches of them, and every now and then someone would say, "What are you doing about your vermitids?" And the honest answer is nothing.
Nothing.
Because every now and then there'll be a little patch that bothers you because like it'll be an encrusting coral and there'll be like 10 vermitids sticking out and it's ugly. But that's it. And even then, that doesn't really bother me. And if you're really that bothered, just break them off. But yeah, they're like vermitids are just like, they're not really a big deal.
Trav has just gone bubble algae and then 3 sad faces. I had bubble algae in one of the coral trays and I put like this is the exception. Most people don't do this, but I put 12. I think I put 12 emerald crabs in the trays, just completely wiped out, and I did it in all of the trays in the end.
Yeah,
now 12 is a lot.
Just put 400 quid worth of crabs in, for God's sake.
Look,
Come on.
Yes, I understand that, but you have to remember I'm selling to lots of people. This isn't my own tank.
But to be fair, so bubble algae can be a pain. But if you've got a small tank, it's more of a problem because you can't just put a tang or a fox face in.
Yeah.
But you can just put. So I had bubble algae in my my Cade, and I put every now and then, like it would always grow on the power head weirdly. So every now and then I'd whip the power head out, clean it all off, and then job done. And I put an emerald crab in there, and it was fine. It doesn't usually completely take over, and even if it does, actually bubble algae as well. It's a myth that if you burst it, it'll just spread everywhere. That's not how it reproduces. So actually, you can just scrape it all off. Doesn't matter.
I think this one might be a controversial one, but as I said when I briefly mentioned it, quarantine. I think there is a place for it. I think that just like a certain form of quarantine. I think throwing them straight in can be a high risk strategy.
Mm-hmm.
I think having a tank which you've just put fish in for 2 weeks is a good idea. Is what I think. Anything more than that, I think, can do more harm than good. So, and it's entirely possible if you put fish in a new tank as well that you can get an ammonia spike as you obviously saw. So that is a risk as well. But I do think having that barrier between like your fish and between new fish and old fish is worth it to some extent. Well, not to some extent. Definitely, we both had issues, haven't we?
Mm-hmm.
But we've both also treated with copper, and even the fish. I swear the fish come out weaker, which I know we've discussed previously. But whether they might get through the copper, but they might die a month later, and you go, "Oh, what killed that fish?" But it's probably the copper.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think quarantine, rather controversially, extreme quarantine is not for me. Is what I'll say.
So I just rely on a few things, but one of them is lots of UV. But even then, I changed my UV bulb the other day. The trouble is, I've set my UV sterilizers up so they're out of the way and they're easy, but there isn't enough room to get the bulb out just by lifting it out. So you have to tilt the whole thing on its side, and then you risk it pulling it away from other. It's a bit of a pain. So I left it for 6 months without doing it. Whereas if it was at an angle so I could just whip it out, I'd have done it straight away. But anyway, I realized that I put a plug next to the on switch on my UV sterilizer, and it had turned it off. I've got 2, but one of them was turned off for a week or 6 months, probably 6 months. I don't know. Got no idea.
It wasn't actually doing anything.
Well, the other one was on anyway, to be fair.
And
it's 2 is overkill, but nonetheless. But quarantine is we've talked about that extensively before. It's not for everybody. and you do stress, because particularly actually when you've had an issue. So when I had my issue a year or so ago, I was really nervous about adding fish again, even if I was going to treat them, and I did treat them at first. But then the further away you get from that, the less you worry. And now I'm back to the point where I'm not concerned about getting fish. Partly because I do it properly now. I feed them. I feed quite a lot more heavily than I ever have done, and I've got more UV than I've ever had before. And I inspect fish again. That was one of the big things that I didn't like. The fish that brought it in, I didn't inspect it. I didn't even look at it. I was like, "Have you got a Royal Grammar? Yeah, throw it in the bag, would you?"
This is what I mean about complacency.
It's so stupid. That was one of the most stupid things I've done in my life.
Yeah.
But that's, you get complacent. You're like, it's fine. Don't worry, my water's good and blah. Yeah. But yeah, so actually there are things you can do to avoid that. But you do get stressed about that, and you do worry. And I think that's a fair fear. But you can read, if you read the wrong page on a forum or whatever, you can get too worried about it. And because to be fair, a tank wipeout, it's not funny. It's about as bad as it gets. So I understand why people are fearsome of it. But
another one, but what I'm actually doing is I'm telling you all the things that people talk to me during the consultations about. Another one is zoas. I think a lot of people are very fearful of zoas, and to some extent rightly so if you're planning to eat them. But
I've never understood that.
What, for the people
fear of zoas?
Look, they do contain a toxin. So, I do understand where
not
the
all
fear comes from, because you see on the news it says family killed by zoa, not killed, but like seriously ill from coral or something like that.
Okay, that's a headline. And then you read the article and it says,
I know,
a man boiled a rock.
No, I know, but it's not unusual for people to come to the coral farm and say, I'm not, and this isn't against anyone, because some of my customers will be listening. But for people to go, oh no, I've got kids, so I'm not doing, I don't want to get that. And sometimes they say, Alex literally just rips them up with his hands, which is true, isn't it? You do.
If I wouldn't, like, there are some that are actually worse than others. So what's the big
like
fat
those
one?
Brown or green pallies.
Palligrandis, yeah. They actually, you do have to be careful with those, to be fair.
Yeah.
But most zoas do not. They're not. You can treat them like dirt, like a farmyard animal. they're not gonna do any damage to your tank, to you.
We'll let Alex get sued. I am still careful.
I'm not. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
I wear gloves when I'm handling zoas and things like that.
So. But what I really mean is that I've every now and then I'll see someone say, "Oh, I'm not going to buy a zoa. I'd never keep zoas," and that for me is like, okay, you've got to make your own risk assessment and choose what you're happy to accept and what you're not. So fine. Yeah. But that to me, if someone were to ask me, should I be scared of zoas? I'd be like, no. Are you going to boil them? Yes, then you should be scared of them.
Yeah, but not because of the zoas, because of your intellect. I have a fear that I've just upset one person who's silently watching, going, "Oh shit, I did that." But as I said, look, I understand and I respect them, but the other thing I always say is that the government would never allow them to be sold. If you think about it, they would never allow to be sold if they were like seriously dangerous, or maybe they would.
There are a few things that have been sold in the past that have been very dangerous. What's the thalidomide? That was allowed to be sold.
Was it? I don't know what that is. What is that?
Oh god, it wasn't. It was like from the 60s. It was a pregnancy treatment or something.
I know. Okay, look, I know what you mean. Anyway, but okay, maybe I'm wrong then. But generally speaking, the community as a whole accepts zoas, so the chances are things will be fine.
If zoas were a genuine problem that were like was a real risk, you'd know about it, because there'd be video. I would clickbait the shit out of that video. I'd be like, this zoa is going to kill you, this coral will kill you, or whatever. So you'd find videos all over the place, so you'd know about it.
There's a reason we don't sell blue-ringed octopus. Like, there's a reason you can get other octopus, but you don't get those.
Several reasons, but
because it's been deemed by the industry as probably not okay.
That will kill you and
because
your family.
If you want one, you can get one. As in, they can get them. You can import one if you wanted to. But I know places like TMC don't bring them in for that reason, because it's not worth it for them. It's not worth it for the people. And so, whereas they also sell zoas, so they've gone, we deem these as safe. These are not.
If you want a blue ring octopus, you probably need to be protected from yourself.
Yeah, true.
Because you don't want one.
No.
Anyway.
No. Again, this is another controversial one, but I know you will agree with me, and this will give you a chance to explain it.
Go on.
I think research, to some extent,
yeah.
People are super, super anxious at first about how much research they've done. And I do think that, and I will always say, do as much research as you can. But there comes, and I think you did this, didn't you? Do like a year's worth of research?
2 years.
2 years worth of research. There you go.
Ridiculous. I remember I was peacock wrasses in particular. I remember researching, and there was a magazine I found. I think it was called Coral Magazine. I can't remember. It was online, and you could download back issues. It was like, I think it was from South Africa, and you could download the back issues as PDF. And I would download all of the magazines and read all of them. I would find articles. I would read endless articles about everything. And literally 2 years. To be fair, part of it I was saving because I didn't want to. I couldn't afford it. I didn't have the cash, so I needed to put some money aside. But the amount of research I did was insane. And then when I got a tank and started, the amount of time I spent working out if you could get a freshwater tank and change that over to a saltwater tank and how you could do it. And actually, it sounds really complicated. And then when you do it, it's like, oh, now I understand. Actually, it's not that hard at all. But getting stuck in, there's just no substitute for it. And 2 years of research, don't get me wrong, you shouldn't just go in on a whim. I'll have 2 clownfish, please, mate. Oh, by the way, have you got any tanks? But you should do a bit. You should do a bit of research. But if you're researching for 2 years, like I did, I've got news for you. You just wasted 2 years because you'll get started, and you'll think, "Great, I'm ready now." You don't know squat. You might have picked up a couple of things that are useful, but you're never going to learn by reading because it doesn't make sense. And then when you actually get stuck in, for a start, it's not that hard. And for a finish, you suddenly realize that things, there are things that you can read about it, but if you've never tried it, you just won't understand it.
The anxiety, as I said, comes from not like you have to know the basics, but not knowing enough. This will probably blow your mind. Maybe I don't know if it will actually, but because you sort of know who I am. Like when I was doing my original research before I had anything, I had a fish list. Before I even got these fish, I had a feeding schedule. Like of because I wanted to have eel, lionfish, pufferfish, and they don't all get fed at the same time on the same days. But the reality is, if you just fed them all at the same time, it wouldn't matter.
The same food.
It's the same food. And you go, oh yeah, this fish needs this, and this one, and the lionfish has to have silver sides.
But that's exactly what I mean, because you convince yourself that all these exact requirements, and then actually when you try it, you put a load of fish in, they just all eat mysis. You're like, oh, okay. And then you're obsessed. You think, well, how many times do I need to feed a day, and how much do I need to feed each time? And actually, you don't. There is an answer to that. It's not that it doesn't matter. It's just you're never going to work it out because there is no, like, if you've got a 3-foot tank and you've read an article about someone who's got a 6-foot tank, it's different. So there's no exact way. You're only going to know by trial and error.
A big one for me is coral growth as well. See, like I saw a tank the other day. I actually sent you a video of it. It's a nice. It's a 3-foot tank, I think, and it's like full. Like, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like full to the brim. It wasn't a great video because I didn't have an orange lens, but that's a tank where coral's been placed all over the place. And they've just done what they do naturally, and they've filled in the gaps. And some of them are fighting with each other, and some of the zoas have grown up the back and stuff like that. But it's like it's a natural, nice-looking tank, isn't it? For me, when I'm placing corals, I'm like, oh, is this gonna grow too fast? Is this one gonna sting this one? What's the colors gonna look like? And to some extent, there is a you have to put some thought in, but generally speaking, a reef tank usually looks amazing to an outsider. If you don't, anyone who doesn't know what they're looking at thinks the tank looks amazing. The solar panel guy came in and went, "Is this all coral?" And I'm like, this is for the water box. And I'm like, there is only one coral in there. The rest of it's just rock. So he was impressed by the rock. I went, if you're impressed by rock, come see the coral farm.
Yeah, okay.
But
so actually, it's funny because that maybe it's because I'm fussy or whatever. But that tank, the growth was very impressive. But I did find myself thinking that hasn't been planned out the way I would have liked it to be planned out, because it is just a little bit like everything's just growing.
He's listening, by the way, so you be nice.
But yeah,
I'm going to see him tomorrow as well.
I've done the same myself. I've done the same with my cat.
I think, to be fair, I did say to him, I said, look, this is a tank where things have been pulled over, and it looks. I think it looks good, and one of the reasons I think it looks good is because it's like so much time and effort is put into things these days, by like making everything look exact. But that just looked like it was someone who just loves this tank. He put the corals where he wanted. He's got acros at the top. He's got zoas, like a mix of zoas. Some of the things are stinging each other, but it doesn't matter.
I think it is worth spending some time thinking about that, particularly colours, because if you put all green corals together, they look rubbish.
Yes.
If you put a green coral next to a red coral, they look really cool. So it's definitely worth thinking about that to a degree.
Yes.
But if you obsess about it too much, then it's a waste of time.
Like, I don't want to put corals in the water box because I don't know where I want to put them. I don't know. This is true. This is 100% true. I don't know where I want to put them. I don't know what's going to look good with each other. What's in like a year's time, are they all going to be grown into each other? And what I realized, you know that war coral rock that I showed in one of the videos recently, where all the war corals have grown into each other? That was from like probably 6 months ago, I reckon, maybe 7 or 8 months ago. So in 7 or 8 months, like it's covered the entire rock basically, where they're actually like properly growing over each other. Like, I need to put more space. If you think about it, I need to put, like, someone just said nobody plans a reef. That's probably true to some extent. I think.
I don't know.
No, I think I do. I actually think to some extent it is, because what our reefs usually are the corals that survive.
Nobody plans the way it's going to work out because the reef has got other ideas. Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, some reefs probably are like very heavily planned, but things don't always go to plan as well. So.
No, mine is planned. It's not. It actually hasn't turned out the way exactly. It hasn't actually turned out the way I was expecting. And I remember when I first started it, I had specific plans in mind, and I've been looking at it recently, thinking to myself, I've not stuck to those plans at all.
Exactly.
And I've still stuck to some plans, but particularly in terms of buying corals, the trouble is I'm a bloody nightmare. I'll go into my local fish shop on the weekend and I'll be like, I only want the nicest possible corals. And then you do that for 2 weeks in a row and you don't see anything. And then the third week you go, well, that's all right, I'll get that one. And then 6 months later, it's taken over half your rock work because it grows quicker than the really nice one. And you're like, So
yeah, I know, but that's what I mean. There's plenty of I worry about putting Montipora in there because I know it grows everywhere, but who cares?
I don't know. I think that's a good fear to be.
That's a genuine fear for you, but what I'm saying is that isn't going to be a problem for years, probably. Like if I put a frag of Montipora, I know you're going to go, what about Tropic Thunder? Even if I put a frag in a year's time, it might be bigger, but the worst that happens, you just have to take a rock out or whatever. That's just it.
Branching Monty, no problem. I'm with you because you can break it off. Encrusting or plating Monties, nightmare because you say
everything encrusts basically, pretty much.
Not like an encrusting Monty. And it's all well and good saying, you just take the rock out. But what if the rock's got some other stuff on it and then it's spread onto other rocks? And, it's a nightmare. So
Alex is still in the stage where he's like got anxiety about Montipora.
Got burnt.
And this is what I mean. This is exactly what I mean.
But to be fair, so I would never put Tropic Thunder back in my tank again because it's just a bloody nightmare and it will take over. If you isolate it on an island, happy days, knock yourself out. It's a really nice coral. But I would never put it on the main rockwork. Although I've said that about zoas, and I put rainbow incinerator zoas on my main scape, and I keep looking at it saying I need to fence that off with putty because otherwise it's going to spread.
And what are you going to do when it spreads? Or when it spreads, what are you going to do?
I'm going to smash the tank.
No, you'll just pull some of them off. Like,
Yeah, but you
and
can't get them all off, and then there'll be a couple of bits that aren't in the right place, and you're like, ah, it's annoying. I love it when tanks grow out and look natural, but when there's one thing that takes over, and it just pops up all over the place, and it inhibits all your other corals, that I don't like that.
I know, but generally speaking, let's put it this way: how many corals have you put in your tank where you couldn't deal with them in probably like an hour if you really wanted to? Like, so, you know, Tropic Thunder Montipora, for example, which was a pain. Yeah, you had a choice where I think you could either take it out or pull big chunks of it off or chip things off, and it will look ugly for a week. But then once it heals over, it's just back to normal.
That was on 3 islands in a tank that I had 3 islands, so I could have ripped all of the rock out and started again.
Rock.
Yeah, exactly. No, to be fair, there are times when it really that is real, but I know what you mean. Generally, it's fine. Don't worry about it. But there are times when it's not nothing.
There you go. So mostly agreeing with what we'll say.
All right. Well, there we go. We're gonna end it there because we've got the reefing scandal to get to. So we're going to move on to the news. So let's go to the news. Oh, hang on a second. No, I might have misread that. So I said Reefgate earlier.
Yeah.
Turns out it's a gate valve, and Red Sea have called it Reefgate. No, I've made a mistake. Sorry. So there's
not amused. No one in the chat is amused. I'm not amused.
So this is news, Ryan. Red Sea have brought out an upgrade kit. It's called the Reefgate, and it's a gate valve upgrade for
you have
basically
already lost me.
for all of their current generation tanks. I think it's 95 quid. Let me just go back and have a look.
That sounds expensive for a gate valve, isn't it?
Gate valves are expensive, but it's about there's a markup because it's not. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there's a markup. Oh, £0. There it's free, no problem. Yeah, probably. No, hang on. Let me have a look at it. Maybe it's not available yet. Here we go. Red Sea gate valve upgrade kit, 75 quid or 85 quid. Reefgate, yeah, there you go. So that's relatively expensive. But to be fair, if you've got the Gen 1 tank, and I don't know if they're compatible with the Gen 1 tank, it's worth doing because the Gen 1 diaphragm valve was rubbish. But I have a Gen 2 tank with a Gen 2 diaphragm. Yeah, Gen 2 diaphragm still. And I've had that tank for 2 years now. Well, 22 months. It's fine. I would not, if Red Sea sent me one for free, I wouldn't do it. It's fine. So I wouldn't buy that upgrade kit personally because the standard one is good now. It doesn't cause me problems. But if I was setting up a brand new tank, I would do that. I would do the upgrade because it is worth it. They're cool. But
Nick said you've had me Googling Reefgate scandal at the start of the live stream.
Sorry. But there you go. Yeah, it's Reefgate is a Red Sea Reefgate gate valve. 85.
Is that the exciting news for this week?
And there is more news, Ryan. Fish news as well, actually, interestingly. So,
okay.
And this is really genuine. This is good fish news. So you love gem tangs, right?
I know. I've wondered if this we could talk about. They've bred them, haven't they?
Quality Marine have cracked captive breeding. Here we go. Let me go onto their Instagram page. Captive breeding of gem tangs.
I'm surprised someone hadn't done this sooner. Yeah, because you would have thought the
zebra tang, isn't it?
Yeah, and they've done yellows. They're probably all be done. I wonder if it's the same method for all of them. I assume it probably is. They're pretty. I would have thought so.
Yeah, but
I always wondered, like, I know they started with the yellows because of the Hawaii ban, but I just wondered why they hadn't done the gem tangs because they were more expensive than yellows.
So how much were yellow tangs when they first, the captive bred ones when they first came out? 500 or 600 quid, something like that.
Possibly, I can't remember.
That's how much you pay for a gem tang anyway.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
There's no price on these, but if they are the £500 or £600 marker, maybe they'll be double that. But if they're that kind of money, people will pay it.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously, it's still a niche fish. You're not going to get a first-time hobbyist going, can I have a clownfish and a gem tank, please? But,
I wonder if in like 10 years' time, if the price of some fish would have come down significantly. Because I know at the moment it's like captive bred, so they're more expensive because captive bred well, most tropical fish are captive bred, and they're like pennies.
Yeah, yeah,
not, you know what I mean? They're not pennies, but they're cheap, a lot
yeah.
cheaper. So I wonder if once they can start like seriously like breeding some of these fish en masse, if the cost of them will come down. And gem tanks is probably one of them.
They certainly should do. But yeah, so you can anyway. Quality Marine have worked out a captive breed gem tanks, and they've got their. This is the size of the this is the size of one of them. I don't know if they're all at this size of them, but that's small, but that's saleable size. That is, I'd be happy buying one of them, like as a wild one, not just as a.
I saw one at the wholesalers the other day that looked that size. I didn't see if it was captive bred or if it was a. Although they do. I think they work with Quality Marine, don't they? So there's possibility it was.
Mine was roughly that kind of size, so a good size, basically fine.
Yeah.
I would guess they would be expensive. Maybe they will be 1,000.
It was the smallest gem tank I'd ever seen, so I don't know if it's just wild collected and it was that small, or if it was one of those.
Maybe they will be expensive, maybe they won't. But anyway, it's cool that they've worked out a captive to breed them in captivity, and they do it in their facility in America. Where was it? Los Angeles? Yeah, LA. So yeah, there you go. Cool. No price yet, but watch this space. And Quality Marine do the best photos. Fact.
True.
So you get cool photos on their Instagram and their page. And that concludes the news. Bum, bum, bum. I love that. Anyway, there we go. I love captive bred stuff. That's really cool, especially when it's a cool fish like that. Would you buy a captive bred gem tank? Actually, better question. You've got a captive bred gem tank and a wild caught gem tank. They're roughly the same size. They're both the same price. Which one you buying?
Yeah, I don't see any reason why not to. The only thing I will say is, generally speaking, when the first set of fish comes out of a new fish breed, I don't know why, they're a bit wonky at first.
That's true. Yeah, the yellow.
You know what I mean?
A bit funny, yeah.
And it usually takes them a couple of batches to. And I don't know what they're doing. How they're like straightening them out, but they're usually a bit wonky at first, aren't they? And then after a while, they then start to go, okay, this is actually it's missing this vitamin from its diet, or it needs this at this time and then they can sort it out, because that's what was happening with the yellow tanks. The first yellow tanks looked well ropey. And now you can't tell the difference between them. And people say you can tell the difference between them because one of them is really yellow. You cannot tell the difference. I have a wild yellow tank and I have a tank bred ones, and they look exactly the same. So I think people just like to think that they're not as good.
Yeah, there you go. But you didn't answer the question. Same price.
I would have there's some fish that I would only buy tank bred. So I have no issue with tank bred fish at all.
He still hasn't answered the question.
I would buy the tank bred one.
There we go. That's what I wanted.
But yeah, there's certain angelfish definitely I would only buy tank bred.
Regals, what are they called? The one you've got? Multibar.
Golden, multibars, venustas. There's a couple of others. Even I think the conspix are their tank bred these days now as well.
How's your Regal doing, by the way?
Fine. It's just in his 2-week quarantine period, isn't he?
Yeah. So, okay. Happy days.
Yeah. All right. He's doing all good.
Good stuff. Well, we're going to wrap it up there. So thank you all for joining. Apologies for the retention bait Reef Gate drama. Bye.